What the fuck is up, ballers? It's your boy Cody, and on the opposite side of the boob tube is your boy Corey.
Yo.
I just got one question for you though, Corey, before we start, because it's been bugging me ever since I started popping up the tabs.
What?
What the fuck is that awful smell? I know it's hard. It smells like shit. Smells can't go through technology like this when you're miles away, but you have the same pages open on your computer. So I know the smell is getting to you too. And yeah.
Now that I realize what the hell you're talking about, yeah.
I'm talking about the NFC East, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. We broke down all the AFC now, finally. So now we're getting into the NFC, and we're starting with the least, which is the East. Let's start with the Cowboys. Per usual in these videos, depth chart, the new transaction signings, stuff like that. Corey's got the scoop on that type of stuff. We'll point out some important stats we just are that we want to point out, but not everything. So don't expect nothing.
So starting it hot off the gate, obviously signed a 4-year deal with Dak Prescott coming off of a huge injury. Signed a $160 million deal. It says it also has a max value of $164 million, and $126 million is guaranteed.
Oh, okay.
So just one question before you get into any of the stats. If you're Jerry Jones, do you pay that much for this man?
Yes. The only reason I say that is because as a Browns fan, ever since I can remember, since I remember even watching partial of the Browns games, not really even knowing what the hell I'm really watching, you need a quarterback. And you might as well pay the ones that produce. Dak Prescott produces. In my field of view, Baker Mayfield produces, so we should pay him. All the other trash didn't deserve to get paid. But the question for Jerry Jones is, did you overpay for Zeke?
Oh, yeah.
Knowing what you got and knowing what struggle you went through with Dak, putting Dak on the back burner, paying Zeke immediately, thinking you're going to get this every year, and you didn't even get it close last year. That's who you should have done it to, was Dak. Dak should have been on that front burner, personally.
Yeah, I agree.
I love Zeke. He's OSU. He's a dog. But I the quarterback position is more important to a team, I feel.
I think what makes me nervous about that is he signed a $160 million contract. Fuck it. He couldn't even use his leg.
It's risky. Oh, that's for sure fucking risky. Because you got a big contract coming off a big injury. That doesn't happen a whole lot.
And I said this right when it happened. As soon as he went down, as soon as his ankle fell off, I knew that this team was going nowhere. With Dak, they are a phenomenal team. Can be a phenomenal team. Without him, they might as well be the fucking Bengals.
Yeah, I knew too. As soon as Dak's ankle literally fell off, I knew the only place they were going. Well, Dak and his ankle, after the training staff came and picked it up off the ground, the only place they were going was to the locker room and then to the hospital. But I mean, it's a risky move, but I think you needed to do it.
No, I agree. I like it. I love Dak as a player. I think it's definitely the right move on his part, and he deserves the money. Other than that, our next signing is tight end. So running back, we're going to jump right back to Zeke. Let me click up my stats here. Yeah, and just like you said, I don't think he was the performer he should have been.
Tony Pollard nearly outshined him, so he's got to be careful.
Oh, absolutely. And he's not just – Pollard isn't just some schmuck sitting on the bench. He has experience, and he's good with that experience. It says another thing that I want to throw out there, Andy Dalton. Oh, It's not Andy Dalton anymore. It's DiNucci. Never mind.
Oh, Ben DiNucci. Yeah. That's why you pay, Dak, because who you have behind him. Cooper, Ben DiNucci, and Garrett Gilbert.
Yeah. But yeah, it's gonna if Zeke doesn't step it up, it's gonna be a tight race. I mean, who's behind him?
Tony Pollard. I'm looking at stats now. Zeke nearly had 1,000 yards. Nearly. He did not have 1,000 yards. Andy almost played all year, too. Averaged 4 yards a carry, where Tony Pollard had less
500, yeah.
Less than half of Zeke's carries, had almost 500 yards, had half of what Zeke did, and then averaged more yards a carry than Zeke. And then Zeke had 6 touchdowns. Pollard had 4 touchdowns. So, I mean, like, if the stats look like if you put Pollard in Zeke's place to get that main workhorse, you're going to have a more productive quarterback from last year's stats.
Running back, but yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. If the roles were switched and he got those attempts.
But the body lean with Zeke and everything and the way he runs, you just got to put him in front and think hopefully he's going to fucking put up another 1,500 or something. Like, geez.
Well, dude is very, very capable, and he showed it before.
Yeah, for the first 3 years in the league, he was a top 3 running back every year.
I think he just needs to be more consistent and stop bitching about his pay.
And how much his shirt is rolled up.
Dude, that annoys me so fucking much. I can't stand that shit. But moving on from wide receiver, they do have a great receiving core. Obviously, your boy CD Lamb. That's rushing. Where the fuck is that? Why is he under rushing? Obviously, you got Amari Cooper. Been in the league a long time. 1,100 yards last year. CD Lamb, 935 yards. Michael Gallup, 843 yards. So you're talking main threes, almost all hitting 1,000 yards.
Yeah, that's incredible. And that's another reason why you sign Dak Prescott, because right now they have the talent at wide receiver to make plays downfield or get open early in the routes.
What are you laughing at? You were like laughing for some reason. But yeah, the better are the receivers. Whoa. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, sorry. My screen just like flashed for a minute. But yeah, like one of the top receiving cores, I'd say probably in the league.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to compete with that receiving core, the top 3 right there.
And you got three people with almost 1,000 yards. And your quarterback went down?
Yeah.
Like that's.
And Dak was slinging it all year until he went down.
That's what he does. But yeah, we'll move on quickly. Tight end, nothing crazy. Dalton Schultz. And they did sign Jeremy Sprinkle, who, if I'm not mistaken, came from Washington.
Yeah, I want to say that too. Yeah.
I'd say that's the only team that sounds familiar. Nothing crazy. It doesn't really give me any information on it. Some offensive, defensive line signings. I'm not really going into any crazy depth about them.
We'll save the offensive lines for another video.
Keanu Neal, CJ Goodwin. I'll just mention some of them. Malik Hooker. No really big changes. Obviously, you still have Leighton Vander Esch, who I wanted coming out of the draft.
Crazy good young guy.
I like his style of play.
Great name. That's a name you can just throw a lot of different accents into it, and it makes sense.
I mean, sure.
Try it.
I'm not doing that.
I was hoping you'd try it so bad. Leighton Vander Esch.
Uh,
Leighton Vander Esch. You see what I mean? Like, all of them just make sense.
but yeah, I think this team is with Dak staying healthy. I think we'll definitely win the division.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Shit.
I mean,
They're at the top of the shit pile.
fuck it.
I mean, good defense, like you were mentioning, the re-signings.
Yeah.
They still got DeMarcus Lawrence, Randy Gregory, Leighton Vander Esch, Michael Parsons, Jalen Smith, Trevon Diggs. I mean, Malik Hooker, like you mentioned, was re-signed. I love Malik Hooker. Obviously, I'm going to point out a lot of OSU players, but they got Greg the Leg as a kicker. This team is good. They just got to stay healthy. It's not like they got to beat a lot of people in their division to reach anything. I think they can easily get to the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree.
Break down their schedule a little more. I think they're one of the top teams, really. Not top team in that way. I mean, they're probably 6th or 7th in my eye, just without diving into schedules and stuff, just based on roster so far. But
just based on roster, yeah, I can see that. Nothing crazy. I mean, that's just the way this is. It's Dallas. I'm over it already.
Nick,
not to put it so blunt, but I mean, what's there to talk about? They're paying their quarterback. Everything else is the same.
next team we got up is the New York Giants. Oh. Start with these boring squads, man. This whole team, not the whole team, but a lot of these teams in this division are going to be like they're talking about offensive linemen.
Yeah, this team actually has a ton of signings. So we're gonna have to rattle through this really quick. Obviously, what's his name? Who is it? Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones, a QB. Mike Glennon's their backup.
But behind him, signed Mike Glennon. It says with undisclosed terms. I'm sure you could find out.
I'm sure Mike Glennon just took some hair ointment. He's like, look, I'll sign to the team if you get rid of this fucking bald patch.
Yeah. I mean, that's it pretty much is what it is. I don't think Daniel Jones is going to win you any Super Bowls. He's just kind of a filler dude.
Tell you what he will do, though. He'll go in there and throw the football and look exactly like Eli.
Yeah.
Other than it's Eli with like a little bit stronger legs. Speaking of strong legs, we get into one of the best running backs in the league when healthy, Saquon Barkley. I say legs because his thighs are massive. Literally, one of his thighs are my whole body. It's fucking ridiculous.
When and if he is healthy, I do agree about that. Some signings on that end.
They are deep at running back too.
Devontae Booker signed for 2 years, $6 million. Corey Clement picked up off a free agent or signed a free agent deal. Alfred Morris also signed a free agent deal.
I like all of them.
Tons of backs. I mean, what else you want me to say? There's a bunch of them.
Going on to wide receiver, leading the way is Kenny G, and I'm not talking about the singer. I'm talking about Galladay.
Kenny Galladay signed a 4-year, $72 million with $40 million fully guaranteed. Next to him, you got John Ross. He signed a $2.5 million 1-year deal. It's
quick. Has his own island.
That's it for wide receivers.
Behind Kenny G, they got Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton. So, I mean, they got decent receivers, and they got one of the better tight ends in the league in Evan Ingram and Kyle Rudolph on this team. So, I mean, their offense looks good. You take a little dip at the QB with Daniel Jones, but I think they can make it work. It's just a matter of protecting Daniel Jones with their offensive line that we're not going to talk about. And then
I don't think it's too crazy.
Their defense is bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not horrible. They got a lot of big names, but I don't as much as this defense is asked to keep themselves into the games, it's not going to be enough. This team's going to come away with maybe 5 wins.
Yeah. Speaking of tight ends, I don't know if it came up on your end. It said Kelvin Benjamin signed, but it also says update. The Giants released Benjamin on the team's first day of training camp. I don't know what
there was something with Benjamin. He got cut from the Panthers for arguing or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, he was in the headlines, but it's Kelvin Benjamin.
I will talk about their defense a little bit. Obviously, Leonard Williams, he received a franchise tag. I mean, why wouldn't you? He's aside from Saquon and your skill positions there. I mean, he is the defense on that team. Danny Shelton signed a 1-year deal. Other than that, I mean, you got Adoree Jackson. They agreed to a 3-year, $39 million contract. Other than that, I mean, that's what it is. What you saw last year, maybe by a couple games, is what you're going to get out of them this year, I believe.
Yeah. The defense isn't too crazy. You already mentioned some names, but you still got Dexter Lawrence, Logan Ryan, Jabril Peppers, or some other big names. But I say we just keep it moving.
Yep. Let's move on to the Eagles.
The shitbirds, my bad.
That's so dumb. And I'm honestly happy to see this. The reason I like
yeah, I'm sure.
The reason that the Ravens are my number 1 team, obviously, if you can see behind me, it's black and yellow everywhere else. The reason the Ravens are my second favorite team is because I love Joe Flacco, and I love the way he played football. And I say played, he still does play, but he ain't starting anywhere. And I love Joe Flacco. And this very first thing that pops up under the Philadelphia Eagles is Joe Flacco signs a 1-year deal worth $3.5 million guaranteed, which is a crazy amount of money to me. It's so little for him, especially because dude's won a Super Bowl.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that contract he just signed is just going to secure his 4 or 5 other houses that he doesn't go to.
Yeah. Like it's so crazy. But yes, that's why I love him. That's why I love to see this. I might have to go get me a Philly Joe Flacco jersey now, because I think that would be awesome. But you do have Jalen Hurts starting over there, I'm sure. And then you also have Nick Mullins signed a deal. Doesn't say who.
Previously with the 49ers.
Yes. So he has a little bit of experience, but not too much. I mean, I don't. If Jalen Hurts gets injured, I don't believe he's going to be the one coming out.
No, okay. Here's how it's going to go. It is going to go. Jalen Hurts gets injured. If he gets injured, Joe Flacco's going to come in for a game and a half, and then get injured.
You should say when, because that offensive line fucking sucks.
Okay, so when Jalen Hurts gets injured, Joe Flacco will come in for a game and a half max before he gets injured as well. And if Jalen Hurts isn't back, they're going to have to turn to Nicky Mullins. But running backs, this team, I like their 3. They got Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, and Kerryon Johnson.
Kerryon Johnson claimed off of waivers. Yep. Both of those. Miles Sanders and Boston Scott. Great seasons last year. And I'm about 1 team behind on this fucking stat thing. NFC East. We're in Philly. I mean, Miles Sanders definitely deserves that number 1 spot. And Boston Scott, I mean, they are where they deserve to be. Kerryon Johnson, I don't think he's really going to do much. 867 yards for Miles Sanders. almost 400 for Boston Scott, which he's a great number 2. I mean, that those backs fit well together. Let's see. Miles Sanders, 4 fumbles, 2 lost fumbles. Where's his touchdowns? 6 touchdowns. Scott had 1. So they do exactly what they need to be doing. As good as they can behind that fucking offensive line.
Yeah. Well, speaking of offensive line, they did draft a center in the 2nd round. Landon Dickerson from Alabama, so maybe it'll bolster it a little bit. But one guy isn't going to put up a whole wall himself.
No.
But let's get into receivers a little bit because it intrigues me a little bit because obviously with their 1st round pick, they drafted Devonte Smith, a wide receiver out of Alabama. So they went 2 Alabama players back to back, 1st and 2nd. But this Alabama player was incredible. Insane. Just so tall, so lanky. Can go get the ball, just put it in an area. And that's what he's going to tell Jalen Hurts. Just put it in an area, I'll go get it. But then you look at the other receivers. You got Jalen Reagor, who only had 400 yards last year. You got Zach Ertz, who did it in a crazy, insane dip from being arguably one of the best tight ends in the league to only getting 340 yards, only played 11 games. And who else you got on there? You got Travis Folgom, who was their 1st wide receiver on the list, and he only topped out at 530 yards. So where are we going with this? You got Dallas Goddard, who's rated above Zach Ertz for whatever reason on this depth chart, is beyond me. Then they got J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Like, the receivers sound good, but they didn't produce last year. Let's see if they can produce better under Jalen Hurts instead of Carson Wentz.
Yeah, it's because of receptions. Dallas Goddard had 46 receptions, 65 targets, and Zach Ertz had 36 receptions on 72 targets.
Like, so Zach Ertz is still a household name. Like, I don't know. I don't agree with that, but. Like we said, we talked about the offensive line more than we should have. They drafted a center, Landon Dickerson. But let's move to the defense already.
Let's see if there's any defensive signings. Ryan Kerrigan, 1-year deal. Hassan Ridgeway, 1-year deal. Eric Wilson, 1 year, $3.25 million. Steve Nelson, is that the same Steve Nelson? I clicked on his picture.
Steve Nelson.
Is that the ex-Pittsburgh?
Oh, I don't know. I don't even see a Steve Nelson on here. Oh, yeah.
So it'd be ex-Pittsburgh, ex-KC. Yep. It is. Okay. He plays pretty well. He, like I said before, he does get burnt, and he does. He'll let a receiver catch a ball in the open field for no fucking reason. Like, he's just standing there.
Yeah, this team is going to be bad on defense. I only see them winning tops 3-4 games for real.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. It maybe 5 is what my original thing was, but if you're a fucking Eagles fan, it's gonna be brutal.
Oh yeah, and I have a friend that's an Eagles fan, and you best believe I'm gonna be rubbing his fucking face in it. Because the year they won the Super Bowl, they acted like they were the greatest team ever assembled. Like the Avengers put a fucking football team together, and it was the Eagles apparently. Yeah, they're going to be bad. Let's move on to another team that's also going to be bad. And this team finally has a name, I think, right?
What? No. What? When?
I thought this team had a name.
No, not that I saw. I haven't heard of that anyways.
I thought they agreed on a name.
I'll Google it real quick.
It must not, because Washington, they're still labeling it the Washington football team.
Like I says, Washington football team established 1932. Fuck out of here. Yeah, they banned like pretty much native attire, like headdresses and stuff like that from the thing, but have not picked a name yet.
Seen a name.
Whoa. Washington football team to reveal name. Oh, that was in July.
That's what I mean.
The Indians can do it in fucking 6 months, but these guys can't do it in 3 years. Oh, Washington too. These fucking, they're good. They have a good job. Washington to reveal new name and logo in early 2022.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These fucking clickbait sons of bitches.
Motherfuckers. You got my view. Good job.
Yeah. Here's my view. Take it.
Right.
But speaking of this football team, they got no name, but they do have a very good, entertaining quarterback.
Yeah, they do.
Ryan Fitzmagic, baby.
Oh, the sexiest chest hair I've ever seen on a man.
Let's go, baby. Alex Smith did retire. Your boy Fitzmagic is stepping in. He will play, and he will start.
And let me point out, Alex Smith was walking with a limp because he broke his leg in a horrible fashion and he almost died. Ryan Fitzpatrick walks with a limp because he's a motherfucking baller.
He's a G.
I had to point that out there because people don't know. They see a quarterback out there for the Washington limping around. They're like, oh, Alex Smith must be injured again. No. It's Ryan Fitzpatrick out there slinging balls, and he's probably going to win you half the games.
Yeah, he'll get half. That's pretty much all there is to that. Running back Lamar Miller signed 1-year deal. And I'm still behind on these fucking stats. But I don't remember. I don't even remember who else. Get off. I don't remember who's fucking running the ball. What? They were just a team I did not pay attention to last year.
At quarterback, we already talked about it. Fitzmagic, and then a running back, we got Antonio Gibson being their number one.
Yes.
And then you go to J.D. McKissick, and then Peyton Barber. And then wide receiver.
Pretty average running backs.
Yeah. I mean, Antonio Gibson proved he's a number one for sure, but it's not crazy. He had 170 attempts, 800 yards, had a 4.7 average.
On the cut, number 2.
He did have 11 touchdowns, though, last year, so.
Dude will bowl out. That's
on this team, he may be the guy to get.
No, absolutely. Like you were going to say, wide receiver, you got Scary Terry. Obviously, he's going to be their number
1,118 yards from Scary Terry.
Let's see who else you got. Steven Sims, Isaiah Wright. Oh, there's Jeremy Sprinkle right there. He did come from here. But yeah, Terry McLaurin obviously leading the charge there. I don't see that changing. Let's see who they. Deandre Carter signed a free agent contract. Adam Humphries, so it'll be a little bit of ball slinging his way. Curtis Samuel signed a 3-year deal.
Oh, that's the other dude I knew somebody else signed, but yeah, Curtis Samuel, formerly with the Panthers. I liked Curtis Samuel, another guy out of Ohio State, obviously. But I think he can produce. Being a number 2 and Adam Humphries as their number 3, it's still not the best wide receiver core you want to send out there with Fitzmagic, but Fitzmagic's like, it ain't no thing to a G. I'll throw to anybody. Including their tight end, Logan Thomas, who is one of the better tight ends in the league, I think. I know last year he had 670 yards on 110 targets, hauling in 72 attempts. 72 receptions. But just a tight end getting targeted like that nowadays is valuable. That's what's crazy to me. He had 6 touchdowns on the year. Moving right along, they took the Browns tight end, Ricky Seals-Jones, but he's their third behind John Bates. So another offensive line we're not going to talk about. They're not that good, but they're also not the worst offensive line in the league either. Going to defense, they did draft a linebacker in the first round, Jamin Davis from Kentucky. Hopefully he'll bolster a little bit next to not next to, depending on how they line up. But they also got Montez Sweat, who's good and insanely young. You got Chase Young, who's a dog right off rip. Jonathan Allen, John Bostic. This defense is good. This defense looks good. Corner, you got Kendall Fuller. Safety, you got Landell Collins.
Yep.
I mean, it's not the best defense, but this defense will be able to hold strong. And I think Washington actually finishes second behind the Cowboys this year.
I agree. And I wanted to talk about this because I had a bet with one of the guys at work who was going to finish kind of where at the beginning of this season once we found out this whole garbage.
Here's what I found on
Shut
Susan's
up.
Wikipedia page. The season is a division of the year.
Can you shut up? You're getting unplugged. I didn't even say what I needed to say. But anyways, I did have a bet on who would finish where. He thought the Giants were going to finish first. I said, ain't no fucking way.
Oh.
Obviously, I chose.
Okay, your friend's a crack dealer. Okay.
So I said, ain't no fucking way. I keep wanting to say the name. I keep wanting to say Redskins. I took the Washington football team to finish first, which they did end up doing. Just slightly, but whatever. But like you said, with a healthy Dak, I agree with you. I do think that the Cowboys finish first, and Washington comes up very close behind them.
I don't know about close behind, but
It'll be close.
I hope so. Because Washington, maybe once they get a little bit of traction, they'll get a name for themselves.
Yeah.
Damn it, Jerry. That was your cue.
Fucking Jerry. I'll fire your ass.
You can't fire him. He's too cheap. As little as he does, he's too cheap.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of all I have to say about him. I spoke my piece on what I wanted to.
Yeah, let's. I'm clicking out of these tabs, man. Maybe I can start breathing through my nose again.
Yeah.
But that was the NFC East. We got the three other NFC teams coming at you. I'm sure you can't guess them. That one was the East. The other three are a surprise, but we'll be hitting you with those real soon.
East is coming up next.
Preseason starts real soon, so we're going to start rolling these videos out more so that we can start watching and focusing just a little bit more.
Predictions are coming back soon. I love it. That's all I had to say.
Yeah, well, predictions back. We're left here standing with no sports right now, man.
And no sports that we can intelligently talk about.
Yeah, I'll dabble in baseball stats a little bit. Not too much because half the stuff I read, I don't even know what I'm looking at. I'll start watching baseball more when it gets into the playoffs and if the Indians are in it. But right now, there's no basketball, there's no football, there's no hockey. I work too much to be golfing currently, so I don't pay attention to it. I mean, it's like I come home from work and stuff, and I'm exhausted. I want to sit down. I want to watch a game, but I can't because there's nothing going on. It's the same equivalent to me coming home horny, ready to beat off, and my internet doesn't work or something. Just left there with something in my hand, It's sticky, and I don't know what to do with it. You get home, you sit down, you're like, now what?
Oh shit.
But no, I'm ready for football to be back. We got to end this cringe of an episode.
Let's do it.
But I'm Cody. That was Corey. We've been doing this long enough. The intros and outros are unneeded, but we're still going to do them. Be sure to like and subscribe. Follow all the social media. The links are in the description, and we're out.
Peace.